Hi folks, HR Funk here, and I'm about to do a review on a firearm that I frankly never expected to do a review on. Largely because I never expected to own a firearm like this. But recently I became the custodian of a Beretta Model 3032 Tomcat. And that's what I have in the box here, and we're going to open it up, take a look at it, and before we're done we'll even do a little bit of shooting. The Beretta 3032 is a subcompact 32 ACP chambered semi-automatic pistol. Being a Beretta product, it is very well made. You don't stay in business for half a millennium if you build junk. However, this particular little firearm is kind of a specialized item in my opinion. It is so small with such a minimal grip and such minimal sights, it's really only best used for very close-in work. I think probably 7 yards is going to be the limit for the distance you want to fire this at. You get much beyond that and you're going to be exceeding the capabilities, or at least the shootability, of this particular firearm. Now, if you're Jerry Michalek or if you were a professional shooter, maybe you could shoot one of these things at 200 yards, I don't know. But I think for the average shooter, you get much beyond 7 yards, you're going to be asking an awful lot for this little pistol. The 3032 features the open top slide that you see on the larger Berettas. It is also a traditional double action or a double single semi-automatic pistol, meaning the first shot you fire is double action. After that, the slide cycles, and each shot thereafter is a single action shot. The 3032 has a thumb safety, but this is not a decocking thumb safety. This is strictly a hammer blocking or sear blocking safety to keep it from firing. There is no way to safely lower the hammer on the 3032 unless you try to hold on to it, and with as small as the hammer spur is, I would not recommend that. Fortunately, the 3032 is designed in such a way that once you load a full magazine into the magazine well, you do not have to cycle the slide to chamber around, thereby presenting a situation where you would have to lower the hammer. The small switch right here at the back of the trigger guard releases a tip-up barrel. Once you load the magazine into the magazine well, you can put a final round into the chamber directly, close the pistol, and there's no reason to cycle the slide. For this reason, for persons who maybe they have reduced hand strength, have difficult time pulling back the slide on a semi-auto to chamber around, the 3032 allows the pistol to be loaded in such a way that you do not have to cycle the slide. Also, because of that, you don't have to worry about lowering that hammer from the single action mode to put it in double action mode. The 3032 features a 7-shot magazine. With one loaded in the chamber directly, that gives it a capacity of 8 rounds as it's carried. Again, that's 8 rounds of 32 ACP, so we're not talking about a tremendously powerful cartridge, although, as always, it's better than nothing. As everyone has heard at one time or another, the first rule in a gunfight is to have a gun. An idiosyncrasy of the 3032 is the magazine release button, which is at the rear lower portion of the grip frame. Most people are accustomed to the magazine release being up here to the rear of the trigger guard, whether it's a button or a lever, but on the 3032 it is back here. Probably that's not going to be a tremendous consideration, since I don't see this pistol as being one where you're going to do magazine dump after magazine dump with quick reloads in between. Again, this is a deep cover pistol that you're going to use for close-in work. You're probably never going to fire it more than 7 times in an engagement. The trigger on the 3032 is nothing to write home about. The double action pull is fairly heavy and pretty long. The single action pull is shorter, it has quite a bit of take up, but there is a good bit of creep, and it also is fairly heavy. Right there, creep, 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 bang, it finally goes. Now, in its defense, this is not intended for any kind of target use. Again, this is close-in defensive work. That's what this was designed for. That's what it's supposed to be used for. So you really can't expect it to have a tremendous trigger. Same thing with the sights. The sights are minimal at best. I'm a little concerned when I go out to shoot this thing if I'm even going to be able to see them. The finish on the 3032 is sort of a standard matte bluing. Again, nothing exciting, but perfectly functional. So that's our tabletop on the 3032. What I'm going to do in a moment is, by the miracle of modern technology, we're going to transport from here to the range, and we'll take a look at how the 3032 actually fires. So with that lead in, here we go, out to the range. And just that fast, we're on the range with the 32 Tomcat. I'm going to start to shoot it here in a minute. When I do, these are the first shots that I've ever fired through one of these, so I'm not sure exactly what to expect. I'm going to be shooting from 7 yards. I don't think I'm going to go much beyond that with this, because with this grip and these sights, this just isn't set up for any kind of distance shooting. But I'm going to try to keep it close. If this starts to look like it might be a problem at this range, I'm going to move in a few steps closer. The main thing I'm looking for here, though, is reliability and controllability when I'm shooting this little pistol. So, with that being said, I'm going to flip open the barrel, drop in around, and let's give it a try. Okay, you might have seen me toss my shooting glasses off to the side. Right off the bat, I see a problem here. That being this small black front sight and this small rear notch. On a bright day like this, it's very difficult to see these sights. Now again, this is not a target gun. I realize this is almost made to be shot from contact distance. And when we walk up to the target there, you'll see that I was able to keep the shots pretty easily on target as far as that goes, and obviously it ran pretty well. I didn't have any malfunctions of any kind. But you'll see some of the shot holes are low on the target, and the reason they're low is because I couldn't see that front sight the first 2 or 3 shots. After that, I took shooting glasses off, had a little bit more light coming into my eyes. I was able to pick it up a little better, and I've got a pretty decent sized group up in the target then. Another thing I noticed, the double action trigger pull on this is pretty stiff. When I go to shoot it here again, I'm going to try to just take up the slack and squeeze off that shot fairly quickly and see if I'm still able to keep that shot up here somewhere in the center chest. Single action pull is a pretty good let off, but again, it's a little stiff too. It's a little bit more trigger finger work with this little pistol than I thought it would be. And here's where the shots hit. Again, I was kind of seeing these shots dropping down in here. I took off my shooting glasses, and then I had a pretty nice little group right there. For something like a 32, shot placement is going to be everything, and I don't know, maybe this would benefit from someone with younger eyes, but I think for somebody my age, it would definitely benefit with a little bit better sights on this particular pistol. Okay, again, the reliability of this little pistol seems to stay pretty consistent. I'm not having a problem with it cycling. Functioning is very good. Recoil, not surprisingly, isn't too bad with the 32 ACP cartridge. That time, I just came up on target, and as fast as I could, I was trying to keep the shots in the head of the target from 7 yards. And that first double action pull, I just came up on target, squeezed it through, and then continued cycling with the single action shots. So we'll see in a second here. It actually worked pretty well. I'm kind of surprised. I thought it was going to look like I shot it with buckshot from about 50 yards, but I think all the shots are on the head. So here we go, 7 yards, as fast as I could try to stay on target and keep the shots there. All those shots are on the head. That one's a little bit high, but if you just had to come up with the pistol and start shooting, it is controllable enough that you can at least keep the shots in the head size target from a distance of 7 yards. Just for fun, I'm going to try a couple of Mozambique drills with the pistol, 2 shots to the body, 1 shot to the head. it is starting to grow on me a little bit. Idiosyncrasies aside, with sights and triggers and things like that, it's running reliably, and I'm able to control it well enough to keep the shots on the target. So I'm going to give this a try one time just to see how I think it feels in this drill. Well, running it into Mozambique, I was able to keep them in the body and in the head, and I was shooting those pretty rapidly. My feeling at this point is this is probably not a pistol for everyone. If you're an experienced shooter and you can learn to deal with it, it might make a pretty good maybe backup or deep cover pistol. I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of my J-frame revolvers anytime soon, though. Okay, I've got a few rounds left. I'm going to run them through again just to take a look at more of the cyclic reliability of the pistol than anything else. So far, it's been running well. As I've mentioned that several times, haven't had any malfunctions with it at all. Really don't expect that I'm going to start having malfunctions with it. So I'm just going to basically finish out this box of ammunition that I have, and that'll conclude my test. That was just pure point firing, folks. I didn't even try to pick up the sights, and they all stayed inside the silhouette. This is a law enforcement qualification target, and for police officers, everything inside this light inner line counts as a good hit. Those all stayed in there. The lower you get, in actuality, the less effective they're going to become, but got quite a few in the heart and lung area there. Okay, and that's pretty much going to conclude my test of the Beretta 32 Tomcat. My impression of this really is what I said a few minutes ago. For deep cover, maybe a deep concealment backup pistol that you're going to use at very close range. The one thing that I can say for it is very reliable. Now, you are shooting the 32 ACP cartridge, so it's not like you've got it loaded with a 44 Magnum or something like that. But even a 32 ACP is better than nothing. In any regard, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. And until next time, good shooting. Bye-bye.